Hello, and welcome to Barf. So today, I'm eating a cookie. I apologize if this makes you hungry. This is most definitely not a health blog. Anyway, today, I wanted to talk about, something I find very important to me because, I don't know, I focus a lot on online community and also just community in general, and people being enthusiastic. I call it the concept of the unhip hipster. Or maybe it would be better as a concept of unironic enthusiasm. But the basic idea starts with my own interests. You see, I've been told that I'm kind of a hipster because, let's see, my favorite music is like older 21 Pilots songs, and some really obscure indie bands that nobody's ever heard of. Then I read a lot of books. Like, I have read Lord of the Rings so many times. I guess that's mainstream fantasy, but you know, it's still high fantasy. And also, I just do hipstery things. Like, I actually like vegan food a lot, even though I'm not vegan. Cookies. Couldn't give up cookies. That's not possible. But I do like vegan food. All of these things are great, but they also happen to be things that hipsters do, apparently, because you see, hipsters like to do things that are, you know, ahead of culture. They're not mainstream, not big yet, but they're the big new thing. They're the cool people to the cool people. And I don't know. I've thought about it a lot, and this most definitely does not define me. This is why I call the concept of the unhip hipster, because I am so unhip. And I wondered for a long time, because I just kept saying this, and I kind of was just saying this without really knowing what it meant. And finally, I realized that the reason I am an unhip hipster is because I really legitimately enjoy all the things that I have listed and all the weird other hipstery things I do. Like, I like old 21 Pilot songs and new 21 Pilot songs too, but the old ones are my favorites. And obscure indie bands because they sound cool and the lyrics are meaningful. I love books because, books. And I like vegan food because it's actually surprisingly tasty, and I have some excellent recipes. But, still, it's just, you see, I'm not a hipster because, maybe I'm getting this wrong, but the way I see the hipster culture is that, you know, you stay ahead of whatever's mainstream, and you stay obscure, and you, like, find your own stuff, and it's really cool. This is fine. This is all fine. Up until the point when the really cool thing that you find, other people find it, and it starts to become mainstream. And then, like, this is really the problem. The real problem here is what I call hopeless hipsters. They're the people who, once their their hipstery, not mainstream thingy is overtaken by the mainstream, they begin to, like, just drift away. Well, like, or more like just storm at everybody else in that community because they hate that their hipstery thing has become mainstream, and now lots of people know about it, and now they're not cool anymore just for knowing about this thing that nobody else knows about. That's what bugs me. And it's that culture of, feeling like you have to like things because, you know, nobody else likes them, or this vice versa, like the mainstream culture of liking things that everybody else likes. I don't agree with either of these. The mainstream culture, it sucks kind of bad sometimes because I hate feeling like, I hate that feeling when people expect me to know all these things about mainstream culture when I don't, and they're like, oh, you're not cool. It's like, well, it's like when a baseball player comes up to you and they're like, do you know so and so player? I'm like, no. Do you know who Yo-Yo Ma is? Famous cellist? No. just not my thing. It's the same thing with mainstream culture. But I feel like it can get worse in hipster culture because in like the hopeless hipster culture, it's more dangerous because people can be so arrogant about feeling like they're superior to other people because they have this thing that nobody else has. And we may be, and like, I don't know, I'm saying we now. I guess I'm just referring to people that aren't in the mainstream. We may be odd, I guess, but that doesn't give us any right to, like, think of ourselves as super superior. Like, maybe we are, maybe our content is far better than the mainstream and that's why we follow it, but that doesn't give us an excuse to be rude. And, like, jumping off a ship just because there's a ton of people on it, I can understand that if you don't like a lot of people, but if it's like a band or something, and then it gets really famous, and then you're just like annoyed by the fact that it's not your little thing anymore, that just annoys me because, like, all of a sudden you don't like them because they're successful. Like, do you really like the band, or do you just like being your cool hipster self? So, like, my conclusion to all of this is that the real goal here is to be unironically enthusiastic about the things that we love, and loving things not because that they make us cool or hip or whatever. It's because we actually like them, and they are meaningful, and they actually mean things personally to you, and that it's a helpful thing for you, and that you're going to stick with it no matter how long. I mean, I guess you don't have to stick with everything. Like, I'm no longer reading, say, The Magic Tree House, which I was obsessed with when I was 8. But, like, it's not like you have to stick with it. Just stick with it because you like it. Don't stick with it because it's hipster. And don't jump ship just because people are starting to like it. Like the things that you like because you like them. Sorry, not sorry. Anyway, I hope you liked this video. Kind of a bit of a ranty video, but I've been needing to get that out for a while. So, yeah, like this video if you liked it. If you have an opinion on this, please leave it in the comments, because I am always looking for extra opinions, because that's how you can better understand the world and people. Imagine others complexly, I guess. So, yeah. See you in the next video. I'm trying to be smooth, but I'm not.